Welcome to the future. Welcome to Bitcoin, Bit2Me. It's great to be back with you for this live stream on September 2nd, truly live. It's a real plea. Sure. We hope you've had a fantastic summer, that you've taken the chance to rest, to go to the beach, because this season promises to be intense, promises to be eventful, and we want to enjoy it with you. We're really excited to be back from vacation and to be here with you. Of course, before we get started, well, a shout out to everyone in the chat, but let me also say hi to Giovanni, who's here with us. How's it going, Giovanni? How are you?
Hi, Javi. Hi, Bit2Me. Honestly, what's coming up is amazing. There are some things coming, as they say. Thank you so much to everyone who has been with us, even because since we haven't stopped, you've been with us a bit over the summer too. Even from the beach, you've been writing to us and everything. So thank you for being there. Well, a lot of things are coming. We're taking advantage of this because this is going to be a pretty important start. Maybe we don't have a lot to share right now, but really get ready because there's a lot of interesting stuff coming.
So, as always, if it's okay with you, Giovanni, I'm going to do a quick recap of where we are right now. I'll also go over some news that happened this summer and that I think is important to share with you. Of course, I want to greet those of you who are live in the chat. Jesus, Xavi, Yeray, David, Esteban, Pilau, Yosebi. Well, it's a pleasure and thank you all for being here. Christian, Xavi, well, everyone who's here. Selvi, who's always the first one here, of course, never misses a session. It's absolutely mandatory. Giovanni, of course, we also need to talk about the incident we had this morning on the platform. That thing about well, I think it started around 9:20, maybe 9:30 until about 10:15. So roughly 45 minutes during which, well, we saw that the platform wasn't working as usual, that there was an incident. And of course, the whole team was working hard, responding as quickly as possible to resolve the issue, right? So, well, we wanted to clarify that this was due to a new feature we introduced, and it caused, well, the display, what you saw, right, on the screen or on the website, not to match up with the account with the usual data. So, well,
that's right. In fact, it was just a temporary thing. It was actually paused for a few minutes, and immediately, honestly, we also want to thank the community, the passengers, the ambassadors, the moderators of the chat, and many active users who were there supporting us to help keep things calm, because they know that one of our top priorities has always been security and making sure everyone feels comfortable with our service. Thank you, and indeed, action was taken very quickly. Thank you all for staying calm, and that's really it. Just to reassure you that everything is fine, the funds have always been safe and protected, and that's all. I wanted to start with this, but also to give a big thank you to the whole community.
That's right. You have to keep in mind that, well, in the end, it's software technology, so there can be updates or incidents, but the team is always there to resolve them. You know that there are more than 180 of us at Bit2Me, and we are available from the very first minute, responding on social media and providing whatever information we have in real time, right? As Giovanni says, the crypto is safe. It was a technical issue that has been resolved and everything is in its place. So in any case, if you have any issues, if you log into the platform or have any questions, you already know about the Telegram group, which is always active with lots of people sharing information and their experiences. And of course, the Bit2Me support team available through WhatsApp, by phone, or through tickets, right? That you can.
So just to add at the end, it's important that you always have the app updated to the latest version. Check it, and if not, just clearing the cache and restarting your device a bit is usually enough. A lot of times we overload our devices and that helps. So other than that, thank you all so much for being here with us.
Absolutely. And well, moving on a bit to where we are in the cycle, you know that we are within the framework, right, of market behavior, which unfolds based on the 4-year halving cycles. We are in the last quarter or about to start the last quarter. We're still in the third. September is left of that year, which traditionally within the 4-year cycles has been the most bullish of all. What does this mean? It would mean that October, November, and December, which are ahead of us until the end of this year, 2025, if history repeats itself, we would see the best performance in the Bitcoin market, and also for those of you who have other cryptocurrencies in the altcoin market as well. So I prepared a table. I don't know if we can put it on the screen, Jose, or if we already have it up. In this table, what you can see is a bit of the monthly performance, right? The percentage both up and down. The green box is a positive month, the red box is a negative month. And if you look at the August row, which we've just gone through, well, traditionally it's been a bad month, right? It's been a month in which we've seen a correction. In fact, this year we've had a drop of 6.49%, I see, right? From the peak we reached around the 10th, more or less at $124,000. And we've gone down to about 107,300 approximately in September. Well, for now, we're waiting to see what happens. It's true that overall, the entire traditional market, TradFi, and the geopolitical landscape are very unsettled, right? There's a lot of uncertainty. We're seeing, for example, the summit between Trump and Putin, which took place in Alaska. Then we've seen that Putin has met with Modi, who's the president of India, and with Xi Jinping. We're also seeing worrying developments in Europe, in France, and Germany, right? With comments from the chancellor saying that the welfare state is coming to an end. So all this whole uncertainty, this whole situation also leads us to think that we're starting to see a decline in positive economic data. Today, a PMI figure came out in the United States that was below expectations, referring to industrial product manufacturing. And what does that make us think? Well, that in September, on the 7th, on the 15th, we finally have, in principle, the announcement of the Federal Reserve's interest rate cut. And who is that good for? Well, for risk on assets, and Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are still included in that group, right? Within that group. It's true that today, which is Tuesday, September 2nd, because the US market was closed yesterday, we see that the American stock markets have opened lower, and yet Bitcoin is going up, right? And we're also seeing this in an environment where the interest rates of banks, of countries, of national bonds are skyrocketing, especially Japan's. What does that mean, or how can we interpret it on a macro level, and how does it affect our investment or our position in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? Well, it means that confidence is being lost in the traditional reserve asset, which has been public debt, especially in developed countries, and the narrative is shifting. That capital is moving to seek refuge in an asset that doesn't depend on third parties, right? One that is not a financial asset like public debt and its derivative, which is fiat currency, the euro, the dollar, the pound, all these state-issued shitcoins. So what's happening? And here I showed you another chart, Jose, which if you share it as well, I think it makes it very clear what's going on, right? Traditionally, as you know, gold has been a safe haven in times of uncertainty and crisis. And if you look at this chart, which goes back practically to the 70s, well, we've seen a sideways movement up until the 2008 crisis, which also coincided with the approval of gold ETFs in November 2004. Before that, gold didn't have ETFs, just like Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs have just been approved this past year in the United States. You can see there that there's an initial rise that takes us roughly to 2011, 2012, which is when our dear Minister of Economy, Solbes, sold a huge amount of Spain's gold, and we Spaniards lost a lot of money. Then there was a correction from 2010 to 2020 with those extremely low interest rates and massive debt financing and a huge debt bubble. And since the pandemic, what we've seen is an explosion in the price of gold, which also leads us to think that we are on the verge of some event, something related to the monetary and financial system. And what many of us believe is that Bitcoin is going to play a fundamental role for states, for corporations, for funds, but also for citizens, for individuals, right? We talk about that mathematical scarcity, and we believe that Bitcoin is also going to have a very strong performance due to the rate at which it's growing and, well, in depth. So what happens? Here you have another diagram, this little drawing that shows, how much it costs us in terms of time using fiat currency in the unit of account we use, the euro, the dollar, to buy one Bitcoin. And if you notice, beyond the price, what's happening over time with the time you dedicate to work is that it's deteriorating, it's being devalued significantly. That is, in 2015, you needed 13 hours of your work to buy a single Bitcoin, which was priced at $277. In 2020, you needed 380 hours at $9,525. In 2025, you need 3,800 hours of your time, of your work, to be able to buy one Bitcoin. What will happen in 2030 if we also take into account that there is a profound disruption from artificial intelligence, and that most likely the value humans bring to work will gradually decrease compared to artificial intelligence? Well, you'll need an entire lifetime to be able to buy a Bitcoin at whatever price it is at that moment. Therefore, I believe that these corrections we're seeing right now from 124, now we're at 110. I don't know if you, well, I imagine you do, that you're in an environment or that you follow the topic of Bitcoin a lot, but in your circle, friends and family, they're probably not very aware of it. And that means the retail market, the small investors aren't paying attention to what's happening, even though we're at 110. I mean, I don't see us being at a market peak. There are a lot of people who ask us how high we think it's going to go. I'm not entirely sure either. Later, we'll ask our guest, whom I haven't mentioned yet, but today we have a very special guest, Tony Morrill, who's going to present a video game he created about Bitcoin called Satosis Gold. And we're going to talk about all of this, right? Because he has also been around for a long time and knows this industry, this ecosystem very well. But well, I don't know if your environment, you notice that people are interested and that they are really saying, yes, yes, I want to buy a little bit of Bitcoin and such. So
In fact, Harvey, the truth is that now people are going to that environment. In fact, they are motivated to learn something different, to see that alternative that we have now, which I don't know if until a moment ago. In fact, lately, what you hear a lot about is Bitcoin and also stable coins, also making a distinction between them and central bank digital currencies. So there's also that interest in understanding what's actually happening now. And above all, it's also because big companies, investment funds are getting involved. It's even being regulated. And for some users, that regulation is actually a good thing. They feel comfortable being able to bank that money. So honestly, the places I've been to are moving in that direction.
well, actually, you might say maybe these corporations have stopped buying, right? The company MicroStrategy, which is now called Strategy, led by Michael Saylor, announced or has announced this morning a purchase of more than 4,000 additional Bitcoins, adding to the 636,000 it already owns. But then there's Metaplanet, that Japanese company that used to be in the hotel business, which has about 20,000 Bitcoins approximately. So we see that they're still accumulating. They haven't stopped, right? And even though there are these occasional sales by whales, in this case, apparently all of this was triggered by a whale who sold about 24,000 Bitcoins on a Sunday night, right? And the market, little by little, is absorbing it. Let's see this week what the ETFs do. But anyway, the trend, Giovanni, I think is pretty clear. Also, for you always tell me, Javier, you only talk about Bitcoin. You don't talk about Ethereum or altcoins and so on. Look, you already know what I think about the moment we're in, both from a historical perspective and from an investment point of view, not just technologically, which is also important, or in terms of value proposition, but as an investment, I think it's the best option. But anyway, in any case, if you have other cryptocurrencies and that alt season does happen, which could occur, then we would need to see Ethereum breaking through those all-time highs, right? It has already touched that $5,000 level a couple of times, and if it breaks out, it would really take off. So the narrative right now about the bull market that could happen on networks like Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies is precisely the approval of the Genius Act and the launch of new tokens in the form of stable coins pegged 1-to-1 to the dollar, which have been approved through a law, the Genius Act in the United States, which allows companies to launch these tokens, right? Could that be a narrative for this cycle? Well, it could be. Something that you've probably all heard, everyone who's here live, is that the company Tether, which is the issuer, right, of the most important tokens in the world, it's the third cryptocurrency, or yes, the third in market capitalization, over $160 billion. Well, they've invested directly to work in Europe with Bit2Me, right? I think that's also an important sign of how serious or the potential that all these companies have now with the support of political power, right? Of the legislation. So we're in a moment of transformation. I think the decisions we make in the coming months are very important. And well, everyone manages risk as they see fit. Obviously, some people say that the cycle will reach $150,000, and from there it will have a correction. I'm not so sure about that, but if you look at Bitcoin in the long term and think it's a major disruption, what I would say to you is, from my point of view, okay, without this being investment advice, you should have a portion that you never touch, all right? That you keep that in Bitcoin for the medium or long term. I'm talking about 3, 5, or 10 years. And well, if there's a smaller portion that you think you might use for whatever reason because it suits you, then, well, that's up to you. Manage it however you like. You already know that at Bit2Me, we have tools, well, a bit for that kind of management, especially on the trading platform, where you can set up as many staggered orders as you want with no cost at all, and you can exit the market at any given moment. Plus, you can make that accounting entry so that when you file your tax return next year in 2026, for this year, 2025, everything is clear, right? For the tax authorities. So, well, that's a bit, yes.
Great. Thank you very much for that contribution. In fact, some questions are already starting to come in. Some of them we'll answer on the spot. For example, there's one of them is from Aurelio, who says, can you use the card to make purchases if you have stable coins in air? Yes, in fact, the community itself is already answering him, both Sarete and Usebi, saying yes, you can use stable coins that are pegged to gold, or sorry, to the dollar or the euro. And along those same lines, you just need to check the tab at the top when you link a card to see if it's in wallet or in air. All right. That way, you'll be able to see that you have funds available. Because what the user was saying is that he saw it as zero. That's right. You see it as zero because you've moved your funds to wallet, to air. You'll see that soon. Now we have a new feature that's going to make things much easier. We'll do that a little later. And along those same lines, let's move on to the B2M section, which,
let's go for it also.
once again, Bitcoin, stablecoins, and so on, and now B2M. What is B2M for? One of the great things we have with B2M is making the most of Bit2Me's loyalty program, Space Tinter. How? With discounts of up to 100% in wallet, 50, up to 50% in pro, up to 7% cashback on every purchase we make directly at any establishment, both physical and online. What does this mean? And many more options that we have available. Along those lines, we have something that we've been improving based on what people have told us, both from B2B feedback and in the community channels, which is improving the B2M locking system. When we lock it, we get a lot more points and the possibility to reach a higher level. What can we do? We can add locked funds from the flexible pool. Okay, that's the one that doesn't have any kind of lock. Then you can also update the lock periods as well. So we can also add funds without affecting the lock period. And another something super interesting that was highly requested when the service was launched is the ability to move funds between different locked pools. For example, if you have it in the 3-month pool, move it to the 6-month or 12-month pool, remembering that we currently have lock periods of 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months, okay? And now we have those possibilities, the 3 options I mentioned. Add funds to the locked pool from the flexible pool, update the lock period of any pool before it ends without having to add funds. Now, we even have the option to do this up to 30 days before the lock period ends, and a little more.
Hey, that's great because, well, I think these 4 points are interesting for all B2M holders or anyone who uses B2M to improve your interaction, right? Your usage within the Bit2Me platform. As you know, within Space Center, we have those 7 levels that work based on a point scale. Depending on the points you have, you get more rewards. That is, you have to reach a series of milestones. I'll explain it briefly like this, Giovanni, just in case there's someone new. And also, because look, we were just in Asturias, right? At an event, and there were a lot of people who wanted to go deeper, you know, about the topic of the Space Center. So it's a loyalty system, and the B2M token serves to enhance all the tools you have within Bit2Me. So for example, in Earn, you can get up to 7.5%. There was someone, Giovanni, who mentioned, I don't know if his name is Roberto, who asked if you can pay with USDC while having it staked and using the card. That's the idea. While you have your crypto deposited, whether it's stable coins, Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatever you want, using it in Bit2Me Earn, you can connect it to the Bit2Me card with just 2 clicks by selecting the currency. Notice that there are 2 tabs at the top. One is wallet and the other is Earn. You select the tab, and if you click there, it automatically activates so that when you go to make a payment with the digital card, you can also use the physical card, of course. The swap, the exchange happens automatically. This way, you don't stop earning rewards from that cryptocurrency while also receiving cash back, which improves as you reach higher levels in the Space Center. That is to say, in the end, it is an entire architecture. It is a structure so that the B2M token with the functionality that I was also mentioning, Giovanni, that O'Neill has developed for us, so that you can, let's say, make a purchase of points, literally that you exchange B2M for Space Center points. Well, that improves the entire interaction for you. Okay, so
no less important, all those discounts of up to 100% and the cashback you were mentioning, the reimbursement for payments, all of that without selling a single B2M, that's also quite important. In other words, by holding those B2M, by locking them up and having more points, you're getting those discounts without needing to sell them. That's something quite interesting for most users because you really don't have to get rid of them. Quite the opposite. So thank you, Javi. Honestly, that was a very good explanation in that regard. Shall we continue? What do you think?
Yes, go ahead.
We're also looking forward to being able to continue with Tony.
Of course. Well, let's see. You know, this July and August, mainly we've had, above all, the confirmation of the MiCA law for Bit2Me, which I think is very important to mention. As you know, it's the recognition from the European Commission, as well as from the financial regulators in Spain, the CNMV, that Bit2Me complies with all the requirements set by Europe for an exchange to be able to operate, right? With the same category that a traditional bank would have, right? I mean, we have extremely high requirements of all kinds, as we've been talking about over the last 2 or 3 years that we've been preparing for this. And well, the compliance and legal teams have done an outstanding job to obtain this license. And if I'm not mistaken, Giovanni, we're the first Spanish exchange to achieve it, right? There are other companies working on it, but we already have it. So that's important in terms of security, right? You have all the necessary legal and regulatory safeguards in place to use the platform securely. All right? That's very important. And on the other hand, as I briefly mentioned before, there's the involvement of the company Tether, which means that one of the most important players in the world is directly participating in Bit2Me structure. You already know that Telefonica was involved, you know that Unicaja was involved, and that SECA Bank, which is the most important wholesale bank in Spain, is also part of it. And now a player from the ecosystem like Tether is joining as well, right? So I think all of this, Giovanni, needs to be highlighted. Even though it happened now in July and August, it's extremely important. I mean, it's a turning point in the history of Bit2Me, the result of all the work that's been done over so many years. And well,
Yes, because just to recall,
yes, indeed.
all right, remember that everything we're achieving, like the European MiCA license or the Tether partnership, means we've gone through a lot of internal and external audits in order to actually obtain those advantages, to be able to have the license and to have one of the big players like Tether supporting us in that area as well. So thank you, Javi. Now, to continue, we have something new on Bit2Me Air, what you were talking about, staking and so on, putting your cryptocurrencies to work. And in that, what do we have now? The savings mode. Honestly, it's super simple. That's exactly what we were just talking about. Why? Because simply once you activated all the rewards you've been earning, for example, from crypto cashback, direct cashback, remember that we have direct cashback of up to 7% with the MasterCard. You can have both the virtual and physical card, and before you had to transfer that cashback manually, but now you don't have to anymore. Now, the moment you activate it, it will always go directly to the flexible account, which is super important. Keep in mind, because people also asked me on Telegram and elsewhere, if you want to move it to the locked accounts, you have to do it manually, okay? With the improvements we have. Along those same lines, you can enable and disable it in a very simple way. So this is something the community asked us for. In fact, I'm sure we had it listed somewhere in Bit2Me feedback, which is the tool we have specifically so users can tell us, we want this, we like this, anyway. So thank you. Also, we had the significant, exciting listing of World Liberty Finance, which is now readily and widely available for you to conveniently purchase. Indeed, it is absolutely crucial to always be extremely cautious, thoroughly review all the intricate details of the projects, meticulously analyze and diligently monitor the project's ongoing progress so you can effectively improve your overall investment strategies and approaches. We have now surpassed more than 400 cryptocurrencies listed on Bit2Me, which is truly a great achievement because, on the other hand, we also carry out a significant screening process and are constantly reviewing which cryptocurrencies we have, which ones we need to add services to as well, because along the way, we keep improving services. For example, BitS sensor has arrived at Bit2Me, and now we can have it directly within the Bit2Me family, so it can provide us with that daily reward.
And well, some of the coins, right? I don't know if we're going to mention all of them because there are already so many, more than 400, as Giovanni mentioned. But anyway, PAMP, Form, PAL, SPK, Home, Sky, NIL, the ones that keep getting added. Just as a reminder, you'll always get a red notification in the different gaps or in the different tabs that appear in the wallet. So if there are new coins, a little dot will appear there for you right now, like the one in the background, right? So well known, the one from Donald Trump's son, Finance Liberty. Well, so there too, all those updates obviously show up. All these cryptos, as you know, well, they carry an important risk, okay? When it comes to buying, you need to do your own research. What we do, of course, is make it easier so that if someone wants to have it available, well, on Bit2Me, they can have it in the different formats we offer. But I insist you have to do your own research, as you know. You know, I always talk about Bitcoin, right? Differentiating. But well, something that I do believe that, tell me, Giovanni.
No. Also, you were talking about the weekend, about Bit2Me loan and so on. Along those same lines, we now have, since people requested it, loans with XRP, with Ripple. So that's something people asked for. Now we have the possibility to use XRP as collateral, as the guarantee currency. So in fact, they were talking about, people were quite interested in that service.
For those of you who don't know what loan is or have never used it, well, this weekend, Alvaro gave a really good presentation. Basically, what it allows us to do is use our cryptocurrencies without having to get rid of them, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or in this case, XRP, which is the new addition that Bit2Me has made, so you can use it as collateral and get immediate liquidity, okay? And you can choose the amount you want, 10, 20, 30, 40%, whatever you decide, right? This is what would be considered leverage in a way that's a bit softer than leverage on a trading platform. Well, it's about leaving your cryptocurrencies as collateral. I mean, from a functional point of view, it's not exactly leveraging, but rather you use your cryptocurrencies, leave them on Bit2Me, and you're given liquidity, which can be in stable coins, and you can do whatever you want with them. You could, for example, use it to buy more of the cryptocurrency you like, Bitcoin or whichever one, etc., right? So, well, it's a feature that in the coming days or next month, we're going to make a special announcement about if everything goes well, because Alvaro already mentioned something. But anyway, I don't want to get ahead of myself. We'll invite him to come by and tell us directly. And also, besides XRP in loan, we have new pairs on the high frequency trading platform in case you want to check them out. SK, Kipi, Arkansas, Silo, Theta, IOTA. Well, there are a ton of them, okay? But if you were to go into the drop-down menu within the window, you will certainly see a brand new, well, that entire and comprehensive list of various cryptocurrencies along with their new trading pairs, so you can effectively place orders if you so desire. And regarding deposits and withdrawals, Giovanni, we've added CW, CWIF, okay? Which you all were also very much asking for, and that would definitely be
PayPal. PayPal is also something that people were asking us for a lot. Now, right now, we can also deposit and buy with PayPal. It's definitely something people were requesting. Once again, I repeat, at Bit2Me feedback, we're listening. Bit2Me listens to the community, listens to its community, and users will be able to, they can vote, comment, and keep track of them. So now you can also download your account and balance statement, just like you used to have with your traditional bank account. Now you can download your account and balance report, which some users requested before, and it was done manually, but now all users can do it. Now also Bit2Me, PayPal is now available from the web version. Also, as you know, we usually start with the app or application and then move on to the web. We already have it, and that's it. Thank you all for supporting us. Look, also Javi, they were asked here in the comments. Antonio Ballestero says, hi, I saw that if I place a sell order in the wallet, I can use the available AIR funds. Is it the same with scheduled orders? For now, that's it. Yes, it's possible, and that's all there is to it. When you don't have enough balance, the AIR balance is used. In other words, something that until now had to be done was to transfer the balance directly to the wallet, which meant you stopped earning those rewards, but now that's no longer necessary. Now you can simply schedule it and choose to use the AIR balance directly for the other part.
Well, that's great. I think we've covered quite a lot, especially considering it's been the summer months. You can see there are a lot of new coins. There's the staking topic. We're seeing new types of lockups, the PayPal issue, strategic alliances. What's coming up ahead is also going to be very interesting, very powerful. But I'm also really looking forward, Giovanni, to bringing on our guest, whom we've known for quite some time and who is truly outstanding. He knows a ton. And not only that, but besides sharing and spreading his knowledge, he also builds companies, business models, and video games, which he's going to tell us about now, all related to Bitcoin, right? And I think this is something that the entire Bit2Me community needs to know, needs to hear firsthand. And hey, also, well, besides Bit2Me, since we're obviously here to share the latest news, you should also know what's happening a little bit beyond that. So with that said, let's bring you in, Tony. How are you? How are you doing? Good afternoon and welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. How's it going?
We're really happy to have you here. We just saw each other recently because you were also at Omar's luxury retreat from Bitconia up in Asturias this past weekend. And honestly, we had a really great time. How are you, Tony? How are you doing, man? How's everything going?
Great, right? Yes, it was. It was great. And above all, it's good to see that there are still a lot of people interested in continuing to learn about Bitcoin. And honestly, we had a really good time. Also, each of the speakers, well, I don't know, explained different things, very different, but they were all closely connected and added a lot of value, just like you at Bit2Me have been doing for a long time. So first of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here and congratulate you on the achievements you're making, especially this latest milestone with Tether, on top of everything else you've already accomplished in the ecosystem. So it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, the pleasure is ours, Tony. I'm sure there are a lot of people in the audience who already know you from the Bitcoin world, right? Because you've been around for many years, but maybe someone is thinking, hey, this Tony sounds familiar, but I can't quite place him. If you want, you can give a brief introduction about your background and your career so people can get to know you. And from there, if you like, we can start talking about Satoshi Gold as well.
Great. Well, actually, I'm a footballer. I started when I was very young and played professionally for 12 years on different teams. And I'm still playing football today. Right now, I'm with the Real Madrid veterans, so I can still say that I'm a footballer. At the same time, though, I have an entrepreneurial spirit. And honestly, I was very lucky to get involved in the Bitcoin ecosystem early on. I got into it back in 2012, and by 2013, I was already buying Bitcoin and starting to look into what was really behind all of it. Honestly, as I said, I was lucky, or I had the good fortune to quickly realize that this could be something big. I think I wasn't wrong. And that's it, always eager to learn and do different things. Well, the most notable thing would probably be in 2017 when we created the first NFT platform here in Spain and the first in the world built on a Bitcoin sidechain. I should point out, or I'd like to emphasize, that I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. In other words, I believe everything can be built on Bitcoin. So I've always applied that vision to my ventures as well. That project has gone well for us, but for about a year and a half now, we've been working on another project. Basically, the company is called Bitcoin Games Lab. And what we're aiming to do is bring Bitcoin to the masses in a fun way. We're creating strategy games for mobile with different themes. The first one has been about football. And the idea is that the player, in a very simple and seamless way, can have fun and at the same time earn their first Bitcoin. And then this will lead these new users to become a bit more interested in what Bitcoin is and allow them to dig a little deeper. But that initial barrier that always seems to be there, we want to break it through gamification.
So, what you've identified, Tony, over all these years, and I think we share this perspective, is that for many people, it's often complicated to say, hey, I'm going to take the step and invest in Bitcoin. And you've taken a different approach, which is to create a tool, in this case, a video game, where people can have fun, don't need to know anything about the technology, and can directly interact with Bitcoin, with Satoshis. Tell us a little bit, if you would be so kind, what exactly the game is truly about, where it can be readily found, and precisely how it fundamentally relates to Satoshi's Bitcoin and other similar digital currencies.
Exactly. Well, the name already says a significant amount. It is indeed themed entirely around the digital currency known as Bitcoin. The specific and intriguing name of this particular project is Satosis Gold. It's a strategic card game, as I mentioned, based on a system we've invented ourselves, like a tabletop card game. It's a closed deck of 45 cards, and the matches are one-on-one, turn-based. It's a lot of fun. We've noticed that there are three phases for the user within the game. The first is a small entry barrier, because in the end, it's a new game that we've invented, and until you understand the mechanics a bit, you feel a little lost. But there's a second phase, when you already understand the game, and you realize how fun it is. And then there's a third phase, which is for those players who have been playing a bit longer and start to grasp the depth of the game. At first, it seems like a game of pure chance, but as you keep playing, you realize there's a lot of strategy involved, which makes it even more fun. The game is now available for download on both iOS and Android. I don't know if, well, by searching for Satoshi's Gold, users can already find it.
You just go to the Apple Store or Google Play, type in Satoshi's Gold, and you'll find the version ready to download and start playing. Some people might say, Tony, but do I have to pay anything? Do I need to have Satoshis beforehand to start playing, or how does it work?
I'd like to mention two things. The first is that based on our experience with the previous project, What a Fun, we learned that we needed to remove as many barriers or as much friction as possible for the user. We've applied that perfectly in Satoshi's Gold, so you can download the game just like any other app, and you can register with your email and password or through social login. You play, you have fun, and if you win, you earn Bitcoins that accumulate in your balance. Up to that point, you haven't needed to know what a wallet is. You don't need a wallet or anything like that. It's only at the moment of withdrawal that you'll need an external wallet, in this case, a Bitcoin Lightning wallet, because transactions and withdrawals are instant through this network. I think that's an important point to highlight, and I would encourage everyone to give it a try. I know that the B2M community already knows quite a bit about Bitcoin. Most of them probably already have Bitcoins. But this will allow other people who may have only seen it from afar and never dared to get involved to access it in such a fun way.
It's all, well, you mentioned that it's built on Lightning. Of course, for those who start playing, if you don't have a Lightning wallet, have never used one, or you use Bit2Me, basically what you can do is withdraw the Satoshis you earn while playing to a Lightning wallet. And once you have them in your Lightning wallet, you could then deposit them into Bit2Me, for example. Tony, is that correct?
Yes, you could do it that way. Actually, the most interesting thing would be if B2M had Lightning. Then with just one click,
I think Leif is listening to you live, so that would be amazing, because I really encourage you all to try it. The experience is incredible. I mean, with one click, you can instantly receive your Bitcoins in your wallet, and it would be super interesting if you could receive it directly in B2M. For now, you can indeed withdraw to a Lightning wallet, such as Wallet of Satoshi, CBD, Phoenix, and from there make the transaction directly to B2M.
Exactly, Tony. In fact, as Javi mentioned, Leif is watching the live stream, and one of the comments he made was, Tony, a genius, another visionary. So you've had the chance to mention exactly that to him and maybe something more.
well, anyway, greetings to Leaf. Yes, we've known each other for many years now.
Well, and I don't know. I mean, we've had the chance to try it out. The game is actually fun. It's simple. You can have it, as Tony mentioned, on your mobile phone. I think, Jose, we have the links, right? We'll also leave them in the comment box in the description. But it's so easy to access the. Let me ask, because I see there are people who are interested. Does it cost anything to play, or do you have to pay a subscription, or
Yes.
how does that part work?
I forgot to answer that question. Well, look, there are two ways to earn Satoshis. The first way is for free, without having to spend anything. You can earn a series of credits that give you access to what is currently called the European League, which, by the way, I'll also take this opportunity to mention that we're looking for a sponsor to name that league. And that league is the one that allows you to win Bitcoins. The top 10 finishers, well, they win Bitcoins. The season lasts 1 month, and we're currently distributing about 300,000 Satoshis per month in that tournament. But the idea is that as we keep winning, as we keep growing, we'll also increase the rewards, right? So there's a free path where you can earn the credits that let you enter the tournament, or you can go straight to the store, buy the season pass, and have direct access from day one. And actually, I recommend you do it now, because right now there are very few players, and the chances of winning Bitcoin are pretty high, okay? Just leaving that as a scoop.
That's great. And hey, I have to ask you about, well, you've mentioned that you're a Bitcoin maximalist. A lot of people say that Bitcoin is limited, that what Ethereum can do, what XRP can do, what other cryptocurrencies can do. In the end, Bitcoin can't, right? You're showing that that's not the case. And in your talk, you gave a presentation where you also spoke a bit about the Taproot assets, explaining why you believe that Bitcoin is going to become the core, right? The main pillar, and that it will start absorbing and integrating the rest of the applications from other cryptocurrencies. Tell us a bit about how you see all of this and why you also have that maxi vision for Bitcoin.
Look, the truth is that the idea of tokenization on Bitcoin isn't new. In fact, I learned about it back in 2013 with a protocol called Color Coins, which really blew my mind at the time and gave me a lot to think about, that Bitcoin wasn't just a currency, but rather a payment network that allowed not only transactions with that unit of account called BTC, but also through tokenization, we could instantly transact all kinds of other assets to anywhere in the world, right? Like stocks, bonds, gold, whatever it might be, right? So I think that initial vision we had is gradually coming through, even though it's true that the technology and development are moving a bit slowly. But in my view, they're making solid progress. So now, with the arrival of Lightning, especially, we've already seen the disruption in the payment space, and now Taproot and Taproot assets are coming, which allow us to do what the Color Coins did back in the day, but in a much more obvious way. In fact, Tether is already using the Lightning Network to transact with USDT. In fact, you and I at the event, Javi, exchanged some USDT over Bitcoin, right? So I think this is going to change a lot of things. I think we're on the right track. I believe that everything will end up being built on Bitcoin, not out of romanticism, but because of efficiency and because it's truly a superior technology.
Well, hey, I'll take note of that, Tony. I also think that we have the opportunity to have someone here who has been around for such a long time, who is building tools, or rather building real pieces of software that we can use and that allow us to interact directly with Bitcoin. And that's his direct experience, right? So, well, I really encourage all of you Bit2Meros to try out this game, Satoshis Gold. I've also left the link in the comment section of the live stream in case you want to check it out and give us your feedback. That way we can let Tony know, and hey, we can also give him ideas for things to develop and implement in the game. Well, I don't know, Tony, if you want, is there anything you'd like to share with the community?
Of course, there's still a lot left to do, right? But I do still see there's a significant gap when it comes to normalizing the use of Bitcoin. Logically, this is true from the retail side, but also from the institutional side, right? Starting with the banks themselves. I think we're going to experience a period similar to what happened in the 70s and 80s when banks were forced to normalize investment in other types of assets for retail clients, when index funds and all kinds of alternative investments came in. Today, that's completely normal and anyone can do it. But back then, it wasn't the case, right? I think we're entering that phase where they'll also be forced to normalize the arrival of Bitcoin for users. And that's why I see a significant opportunity here. In fact, next week, we have a meeting with one of the main banks in Spain because they're quite interested in introducing these kinds of gamified tools for exactly what we're talking about, right? To normalize Bitcoin, right? So I think it's something inevitable.
In fact, everyone who has tried the game really, really likes it. One of the comments is from Kaiser Bitcoin, who says the game is quite fun. And from there, that's a way to delve into the Bitcoin ecosystem and all the technology behind it, as you were saying, in a way that's fun, that's comfortable.
Thank you, Giovanni. And one thing in this very, very crazy market, in general, for all kinds of sectors, doing something different today is very, very complicated. And I think we have achieved it. First of all, because we have made a game different from everything you can find in the market, because we have invented it. And second, because we are doing something that practically no one is doing, which is introducing rewards in real Bitcoin. We are not introducing NFTs nor tokens created by the company itself, but rather we are taking people where we believe they should be, which is in Bitcoin.
That's great, Tony. That's great. Well, there you have it. As we mentioned, we truly invite you to try out the video game and give us your feedback. Tony, if you want to say where people can find and follow you in case they want to interact with you.
All right, you can find me on Twitter, TonyMorel23, also on LinkedIn, Tony Morel. I'll be happy to look for opportunities with people who want to contribute to the project. And well,
Telegram app.
Telegram, though I'm not sure what my username is right now. Well, I'd have to check.
The group, the official group, the Satoshi Gold Telegram group as well, is available.
I'll try to find the Telegram group. The thing is, we're currently migrating from Telegram to Discord, but yes, we'll welcome you to the Discord group where we can address any questions or issues you might have. Of course, we're improving every day, and I invite all of you to join us there as well, naturally.
And that's the invitation, Leaf. About the Lightning Network Satoshi Gold sponsorship, we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. Thank you.
And man, it's truly been a pleasure. Yes, Giovanni, sorry.
No. Go ahead. I just have a couple of things to mention at the end. That's all.
Okay. Well, hey, Tony, really, thank you so much. We'll be closely following how things develop. Also, whatever feedback we get from the Bit2Meros about the game and anything else, this is your home. You know where to find us.
It's been a pleasure, a real pleasure, and thank you so much for the invitation.
That's right. Welcome. And as always, we'll see each other again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.
So, for those of you who are here in Madrid or who will be able to come to Madrid, we're going to be at the Tech and Programming Skill Awards, which are the awards for the best talent 2025. It's going to be the big gala. It'll be on September 11th, 2025 here in Madrid. On September 11th, 2025.
I think we'll be there in person.
We'll be there. Among the award winners, there's going to be a lot of talent. We want to share this with some of those who will be there with us. There are tickets available for you to check out. Also, the categories are very diverse. There are, among the people who will be there, the organizers, there's Bit2Me and also other well-known names. But as I said, we want to share this with you in person. There, we always have the chance to precisely answer any questions or concerns and even introduce people. Hopefully, for example, Tony can be there, and that's about it. Now, it's also important to remember that we had a giveaway this summer, the giveaway where we awarded two prizes of 750 euros each with the B2M holder, with a total of about 1,500 euros in prizes. What was it about? Basically, that's what it was. Among all the winners, the requirement was to participate from July 29th to August 11th. We've been getting questions in the Telegram group about the winners. First of all, congratulations to the winners. I've got their names written down here. They are, give me a few seconds. They have already received their prize. That's the first thing. I'm not entirely sure why they haven't officially announced it in some official way. One of the individuals involved is victormont@gmail, which is a specific email address. I can't give much more information. And the other winner is Mary at FatYL as well. So congratulations to the winners.
They always give you complicated names, huh, Giovanni?
That's always happened to me my whole life. Let's see, that's what happens with live shows. So just a reminder that the B2M holder with is held once every month. Enjoy it, especially those of you who have locked tokens who are holding B2M. It's also a way to reward our B2M holders for their loyalty. You already know that the B2M ecosystem is designed precisely to keep improving the whole ecosystem. As we've mentioned before, the cashback that's given for referrals, for staking, all of that comes from market purchases, not from the B2M reserve. So make the most of it. Thank you so much to everyone who has been here, to those who have supported us both in good times and in not so good times. So thank you, Javi. And we'll pick this up again, which is going to get pretty interesting in the coming weeks and months.
Well, that's great. Well, as I said, I think there are a lot of events coming up where we'll get to see each other in person. We're obviously going to keep sharing everything that happens. September is going to be, I think, a month of transition, although there will already be, well, a reactivation, right, of the whole market. October, November, and December, I think, are going to be super interesting, and your friends and family will start calling you to ask what's happening in this ecosystem. And we'll be here, Giovanni, to tell the story and also to share such interesting, beautiful projects like Tony's. And well, it's truly been
Javi from InternXT. It is InternXT.
Yes, yes, I thought you had already mentioned it, Giovanni. InternXT, which is a Valencian startup, has formed an alliance with us, okay? It's a startup specialized in cloud storage and communication services, right? It has a strong focus on digital privacy. So what have they done? Well, they've partnered with us. Why? Because they're going to start allowing their clients to pay with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So this is another step forward. Just a reminder that we have the option through our payment gateway for any company. You have to start accepting payments in Bitcoin through Bit2Me if you need it. So you can have all that traceability done properly and the ability to convert to fiat in an organized way, right? Let's say in a regulated way. And while InternXT is taking the step, we welcome them and we also thank them for their trust. And we hope this is the first of many, right?
That's right. It seems like this will be the first of many. There are already some others out there going through the filters we usually have. So keep it up. And if anyone knows of anything, you can always mention it in the Telegram group and so on, and see the possibility of integrating other big companies like the one we have now. And that's pretty much it from me, Javi. In fact,
let's ask for a like, even if it's not for you, for me, or for Tony. Come on, let them leave us a like on the video since we're back every month. Hey, it has been a pleasure. Thank you to all of you who are always with us live. And see you.
Joseph says, it's a pleasure to hear your news as always. Greetings. And for knowing where they've been listening to us from, because sometimes they haven't put us on from Peru, Argentina, from Italy. Look,
Eric Marcelli, indeed. That's great. Well, as I said, thank you all so much. The season is starting up again, and we're going all in for the coming months. And many thanks as well to Jose, who's handling the audio and video, Tony, who's still backstage, Giovanni, and everyone who followed the live stream or will watch it later. Well, a pleasure. We send you a big hug, and we'll see you very soon, okay? Giovanni. Bye-bye. See you. Thank you.